intelligence. Elizabeth Lotus was a psychologist that influenced not only memory theory, but her work is also applied largely in criminal law. In fact, most of her memory research was done on legal eyewitnesses' testimonies. The main questions that she had was, how reliable is the human memory, and are eyewitnesses as credible as they appear to be? What was involved in her experiments was reconstructive memory, which refers to the idea that memory does not occur in a completely accurate form. Instead, it is a recollection of new and old information trying to reconstruct past events. What was also involved was conditioning with questions containing presuppositions, which is a condition that must be true for the question to make sense. An example of this would be, how fast was the red car going when it passed the stop sign? So we are assuming that the car is red and that it passed the stop sign. She had a series of experiments. For her first experiment, there were 150 participants that were shown a film of a 5-car chain reaction accident caused by a driver running through a stop sign. Half of the participants were asked, how far was car A going when it ran the stop sign? The other half were asked, how far was car A going when it turned right? The results show that 53% of the participants in Group A reported that they saw the stop sign, while in Group B, only 35% reported to have seen the stop sign. This experiment showed that how certain information involved in a scene can be forgotten without the mention of a stimuli. Experiment 2 goes 40 participants were shown a 3-minute film. One clip shows a class being disrupted by 8 anti-war demonstrators. The participants were given a 20-question questionnaire. Half of the participants were asked, was the leader of the four demonstrators who entered the room male? While the other half were asked, was the leader of the 12 demonstrators who entered the room male? 1 week later, the participants were asked to answer questions without reviewing the film. The question that gave results to the study was, how many demonstrators did you see enter the classroom? Group A averaged to about 6 demonstrators, while Group B averaged to about 8. The experiment shows that the wording of one question can alter the way participants remember traits of an event. For her third experiment, participants watched a short film of an accident involving a white sports car and were asked to fill out a 10-question questionnaire. Half the participants were asked, how far was the white sports car going when it passed the barn? The other half was asked, how far was this white sports car going while traveling the countryside? 1 week later, the participants were asked, did you see a barn? In Group A, 17% of the participants reported seeing a barn. Group B, 2% of the participants reported seeing a barn. This experiment showed that false presupposition inherited in a question can cause witnesses to reconstruct their memories to include objects that were not in fact there. For her fourth experiment, participants were asked to view a 30-minute film, and the 3 groups received booklets containing questions. Group A were given direct question group. They were given 40 filler questions and 5 questions that contained questions about false objects. Group B was the false presupposition group. They were given 40 filler questions and 5 false preposition questions. Group C, the controlled group, received only filler questions. The results show, so 1 week later, the participants came in and answered 20 new questions. 5 were the same as to the direct question group the previous week. The results show that 15% of participants answered yes to direct questions. 29% of participants for the false preposition group answered yes to the same direct questions, while only 8% of the controlled group answered yes for these direct questions. This experiment demonstrates that memory reconstruction further and just the mere mention of an object can cause distorted memory. There was no direct criticism of Lotus' work. She's widely used in the criminal law field till this day. However, she did have criticism for the traditional existing memory processing theory. She argued that an accurate theory of memory must involve a reconstruction of new memory into the original memory process. This is the traditional memory theory that existed and her new reformed version of it. So studies that branched off of her work in 2000, there was Keeble and Gales conducted a study citing Lotus' work, examining how lawyers' complicated language negatively alters eyewitness testimonies. Results showed confusing question form were less accurate than those that received simple language questions. In the year 2005, research conducted showed that when eyewitnesses are shown more than one photo in a criminal lineup, their accuracy decreases as they incorporate newer faces into their memory. This is a little funny skit that I found. It basically shows a false presupposition of a question. He's assuming that unicorns were involved. So my discussion points for you guys: has there ever been a time where you experience an event with someone, and when you both reference a story, you find that some of the details are not accurate to your memory? What is an example of memory reconstruction? Would you consider eyewitnesses' testimonies as a reliable source? Can we trust our memory? Thank you.